Moving on now to celebrations in Armenia after Nikol Pashinyan was elected the country's prime minister. The opposition leader won a vote in parliament by 59 votes to 42. Pashinyan spearheaded weeks of peaceful protests, which brought an end to 10 years of rule by Serge Sarkisyan. Last week, a parliament dominated by the ruling Republican Party rejected Pashinyan as prime minister, even though he was the only candidate. Now, Gulliver Cragg is in the capital, Yerevan, for France 24.
There's an atmosphere of unbridled joy on the streets of Yerevan. Everybody is out, mostly gathered around the central square, celebrating. People are walking around with drums. People who are in cars are honking their horns. There's music playing at deafening volumes, and people who talk to are just saying that they can't believe they're so happy. They never thought that this would happen. Another huge cheer just went up. From time to time, things are announced from the stage. I don't know what they're actually saying, but that cause huge cheers to go up that can be heard all over the city. It really is a pretty incredible scene here. I mean, Armenians did know that this was the likely outcome of today's vote in Parliament. They already celebrated when Serge Sarkisyan resigned on the 23rd of April. That was the first big surprise. That was the thing that they really didn't think could ever happen. And then, though, they pushed for the Republican Party to cede the Prime Minister's office to the leader of the opposition. A week ago, it didn't happen. They've known for the past few days that the likely outcome would be that Nikol Pashinyan would be elected today. But nevertheless, the confirmation that there wasn't any dirty trick, that the Republican Party didn't have something else up their sleeve that they weren't expecting, means that this is probably the biggest celebration of this whole protest movement, the culmination of more than a month of peaceful protest that has remained entirely peaceful.
Gulliver, why is Nikol Pashinyan so popular?
I think the main reason that Nikol Pashinyan has garnered all this popularity is that he is the guy who made Serge Sarkisyan resign. That was what people really weren't expecting. Nikol Pashinyan met with Serge Sarkisyan and was shortly after that arrested, but then released very soon afterwards, and he drove a very hard line. He said, "I've only come to discuss your resignation." Those were his words. And then the words with which Serge Sarkisyan resigned after releasing Nikol Pashinyan were equally simple. He said, "Nikol was right and I was wrong." Those words have gone down in history. And that really made Armenians think, wow, this Nikol Pashinyan is the guy who can do what we thought wasn't possible. It's mainly respect for him as an organizer of protest and as somebody who has managed to topple this monolithic elite that has ruled Armenia for the past 20 years. That's what they most respect about him. If you talk to people about his program, there are some people who disagree with it. A lot of people don't really know what it is. The main element is just that he wants to organize free and fair elections, and to do that, change the electoral system beforehand. So I think people are glad that they feel that now they're going to have a voice, and that Nikol Pashinyan is the man who's made that possible.
That was Gulliver Cragg, who's in Armenia for us. And I'm joined now in the studio by Laurent Lelekian, a political analyst. Hello, thank you very much indeed for coming in. So we just heard there our reporter in Armenia explaining why it is that Nikol Pashinyan is so popular. He does, though, have to work with a parliament still dominated by the ruling party. So just how much room for manoeuvre does he have?
That's the true challenge for him now. He was elected the prime minister by a short majority, and one can think that indeed the Republican just managed to give him this short majority in order to keep the control, because from now on Nikol Pashinyan will be forced to rule the country with this assembly. Especially he has to introduce his platform, his program in the forthcoming 15 days. And if he's not barred or censored by the National Assembly, he will be forced to keep on with this assembly.
What do you think we can expect in his program? He said that he's going to tackle corruption. What else do you think is going to be amongst his priorities?
That's really the priority number one for him, but he has to give also some assurance to the former oligarch that their business will be secured. And he explicitly said that the assets of some oligarchs will not be seized or seized, but he wants to separate the business activities from the political activities. The question is how to do this when many of them are in the parliament. That's the point.
How soon do you think we can expect elections?
That's not an easy question because according to the constitution and yes, the new constitution, the parliament himself only could decide to dissolve the assembly, and so technically speaking, Nikol Pashinyan is not allowed to dissolve the assembly. Now, politically speaking, with the people, with the street, he could force upon the parliament to dissolve. So there is a very delicate situation in which he should not fall under populism and a kind of playing the streets against the assembly, and on the other way, he should not also be a stage of the parliament. So that's not so easy for him.
Now, word on events in Armenia, how they're being viewed from outside the country. We've had the Kremlin, Russia's President Vladimir Putin, congratulating Nikol Pashinyan on his election as prime minister. But what really is Russia making of what's happening, do you think, in Armenia?
Well, as long as Pashinyan gave some insurance that red lines will not be crossed, that's not a problem for Russia. And Nikol Pashinyan said that Russia will remain the key ally, strategic partner. He also said that Armenia will not withdraw from any of the other multilateral agreement, for instance, with the EU. So it seems to me that on the external front, nothing will change. Really, the core issue for him is the internal situation of the country, and separating the business world, the oligarch, from the political affairs. That's the key.